Hello, I'm Nobuko. If you had 2 free hours right in the middle of Tokyo, what would you do? You've already been shopping. You've taken your photo in front of Hachiko and Kaminarimon Gate in Asakusa. You've looked down on the city from above the clouds at Tokyo Skytree. Perhaps you've done all the things you were meant to do in Tokyo and thought that's enough of this city for you. But if I were given 2 hours in Shibuya and told, go anywhere you like, what would I choose? Not long ago, I met one of my viewers in person for the first time. He had come all the way from Serbia. We met in Ikebukuro, had lunch together, and I suggested a small field trip. This time, I'm starting from somewhere different from Shibuya. From the noise to the quiet and back again. Let me show you a Tokyo you won't find in any guidebook. I'm standing near the monument to Ozaki Yutaka, a singer-songwriter who made his debut in 1983 and died in 1992 at the age of 26. I can't say I share his worldview, but he still has many devoted fans even now. Here, too, people come to leave their trace, scribbling messages around his monument, filling every public surface nearby as if competing to prove they've been here. They say Ozaki Yutaka once walked this path on his way home from school. He attended a private high school not far from here. It says that he often watched the sunset from the spot where his monument now stands. But today, the view is mostly gone, hidden behind the towers of new development. From the Hikarie side of Shibuya, I head towards the JR station to catch the Yamanote line. Shibuya station is currently undergoing what some call a once-in-a-century redevelopment. Even so, this area has already changed so much that if you know your way, it's not too hard to reach the platforms. But for anyone unfamiliar with the area, it might feel like a vast urban maze. I've covered the station's layout in another video, so feel free to check that out if you'd like the clear overview. After crossing this long concrete passageway, which might seem cold and impersonal, you'll spot the escalators that lead to the JR platforms. The signs may point you downwards, but I recommend to take the escalator that goes up. It's usually less crowded, and in the end, it gets you there quicker. The Yamanote Line platforms at JR Shibuya Station are on the second floor, but the ticket gate are either on the first or third. If you go through the first floor gates, you'll have to climb a set of busy stairs to reach the platforms. That's why I always recommend the third floor gate instead. Not many people seem to know they exist, and among international travelers, almost no one does. This gate is usually much quieter than the others, and just for a moment, it makes you feel as if you are a local who knows their way. Why not give it a try? This exposed construction site, this strange view of half-finished steel and concrete, is something you can only see right now. It may not look exciting to tourists, but if you return to Japan one day, you might find this place looking brand new. What we're seeing here is a moment in the city's metabolism, a glimpse of Tokyo remaking itself. And then, like moving microwave, a Yamanote Line train arrives at the platform. My destination is Otsuka, a station most tourists would simply pass by without noticing. The buildings pass close to the train windows, a kind of scenery that feels distinctly Japanese. Perhaps this, too, is part of what it means to visit Tokyo, to simply ride the train and watch the city go by. Even that kind of stillness becomes something to remember, at least if it's your first time. For me, the feeling has faded. I've grown too used to it. When I see the billboard for the music shop, I know we've reached Shin-Okubo. There's a famous wind instrument shop here, and when I was in a school band, I used to visit it just for fun, even when I didn't have a reason. After Shin-Okubo, the cityscape becomes a line of apartment blocks. Parks and greenery flick past the windows. Japan surprisingly has quite a lot of green. Maybe it's because part of are common, or because wherever there's a shrine, there always seems to be trees. The area around Shin-Okubo has its rougher patches, but there are quieter corners too. Inside the Yamanote Line loop, rent tends to be high, and I suppose I'll never end up living here. That's just how it is. Takadanobaba is a station between Shinjuku and Shin-Okubo. It's well known as the gateway to Waseda University, one of Tokyo's largest and most prestigious universities. Despite its modest size, Takadanobaba Station is served by 3 major lines in the Tokyo area. Thanks to the numbers of students and commuters who pass through each day, this station ranks as the 12th busiest in the world. While watching the city pass by, I suddenly realized we've arrived at Ikebukuro Station. After Shinjuku and Shibuya, Ikebukuro is the 3rd busiest station in the world. Normally, I'd get off here, but not today. I catch the station departure melody, which, amusingly, is the jingle of Big Camera, a major electric store headquartered right here in Ikebukuro. It always makes me smile a little. I get off at the next stop, Otsuka. When I came here with my friend from Serbia, this station was the end of our little excursion. But today, it's where the real journey begins. I once came to Otsuka years ago for a brainwave test at the hospital. But to be honest, most locals probably have little reason to use this station at all. I've arrived at Otsuka Station. It's probably rare to get off here without particular reason, and yet this is the first time I've used this station in the past 6 months. From here, I'm going to take the Tokyo Sakura Tram, a streetcar that used to be known as the Toden Araka Line. The name of the tram stop near Otsuka Station is rather charming. It's called Otsuka Ekimae Terryujo, which roughly translates to tram stop in front of Otsuka Station. In Japan, tram stops aren't called a station at all. They're called Terryujo, stopping places. So this one isn't Otsuka Station or even Otsuka tram stop. It's just in front of the station. There's something modest and polite about the way it quietly gives up the name Otsuka to the larger, more official JR station next door. Tokyo only has 2 serving streetcar lines, the Tokyo Sakura Tram and the Tokyo Setagaya Line out west of Tokyo. One of the most endearing things about trams is how obediently they follow the rules of the road. At red lights, they stop quietly and politely, waiting for cars and pedestrians to pass. There's something innately modest about them. Trams are well-mannered creatures. In Japan, trams are sometimes nicknamed Chinchin Denshu, which literally means ding-ding trains. It comes from the sound of the metal bell the driver rings twice when departing. As a child, everyone around me would say chin-chin when pretending to drive a train. I never quite knew why we made that sound, it just was. It's a bit like how people in Japan still say to change something when talking about microwaving food. Once upon a time, microwaves used to make a change sound. These days they don't. And yet the onomatopoeia remains. And now the tram I'm riding is making the very sound, a proper changing tram living up to its name. The Tokyo Sakura Tram isn't really geared for tourists. There's little English signage and barely an announcement in English. It's not built for the overseas crowd, and to be honest, it's probably just as intimidating as a city bus for those new to traveling in Tokyo. But when my friend from Serbia rode it with me, he looked so charmed by it all. The carriage, the gentle clatter, the streets rolling past the window. I think it was a good call to bring him here. But if I'm wrong about that, well, you tell me in the comments, won't you? And here we are. Kishimojima Station, the closest stop to today's destination. Just nearby, there's a quiet temple nestled in a residential neighborhood. You'll get a glimpse of everyday life here, not just sights, but the rhythm of people going about their day. Now, the name Kishibojin can be a little tricky. You might hear it pronounced Kishimojin or Kishibojin, both are used. But as a place name and for the tram stop, Kishibojin is the official reading. There's a little cafe here that has always intrigued me. It has a strange sort of charm, but every time I pass by, it's closed. One day, I suppose I'll get lucky and catch it when it's open. I'm now heading towards Zoshigaya Kishimojindo, a small temple tucked within the larger grounds of Homyoji. Kishimojin is a Buddhist goddess with her roots in India. According to the legend, she once abducted and the children of others in order to feed her own. But after receiving the teaching of the Buddha, she repented, and today she is worshipped in Japan as a guardian of safe childbirth and child rearing. A friend of mine once came here to pray for success in his university entrance exams, but he failed every single one. He'd got an amulet, not for academic success but for safe childbirth. When the final rejection letter came, he just said, "Looks like I asked the wrong deity." This area never fails to surprise me with how little it feels like a tourist spot. It's just a neighborhood, quiet and lived in. In Japan, it's common to visit temples and shrines at the start of the year, a tradition called Hatsumode. I imagine this place must get quite busy during that time. And I can't help but wonder, do the people who live here ever get tired of all the noise? For many visitors to Japan, the differences between a Buddhist temple and a Shinto shrine isn't always clear. The simplest distinction? Shinto shrines have 3 gates while Buddhist temples usually don't. But here we are, standing in a temple that has several torii. So what's going on? Historically, Japan practiced the Shugo, the blending of Shinto and Buddhism. For centuries, shrines and temples often shared the same grounds. But during the Meiji period, the government prompted Shinto as a state religion and pushed for Shinto Bunri, the separation of the two. Even so, traces of that blended past remain. Sometimes, like here, you'll still find a small shrine tucked within a temple. Mind you, I doubt any of that means much to the cat over there. You can travel with nothing but yourself. There's nothing wrong with ticking off the famous landmarks just to say you've been, or spending the day at Disneyland enjoying the rides. But me? I often find myself wondering what used to be here before this place became what it is. The kind of travel that involves knowledge costs nothing, and in my view, it's knowledge that enriches the journey. These 3 gates were all donated by local people, some by individuals, others by local businesses. Bit by bit, more gates were added until they formed this little tunnel. It reminds me a little of the famous Fushimi Inari Shrine in Kyoto. And those wooden plaques hanging at the back. They are called ema. Back in the day, people used to donate horses to shrines when they prayed. But horses are expensive, so eventually they started offering wooden plaques with pictures of horses instead. Hence the name ema, literally picture horse. I have to say I rather like this sort of practical looseness. It's a very Japanese kind of flexibility. Just outside the temple, there's a university. It's the Tokyo College of Music, a well-known school here in Japan and one of the country's most respected institutions for classic training. They have everything from the kindergarten to university, focused on music. I used to play the clarinet, and there was a time when I seriously considered pursuing music. But this university was never an option for me. At the time, there was an unspoken rule in the world of music admissions in Japan. You could only apply to the school your private teacher had graduated from. I don't know if things have changed now, but back when I was in high school, that's just how the system worked. Back when I was a university student, I once had lunch at the Tokyo College of Music cafeteria with my boyfriend at the time. Compared to my own university, the food was cheaper, tastier, and there were far more female students. There was no school uniform, so I assumed no one would notice we didn't belong. I thought we could easily blend in. But we didn't. We stood out, both of us wearing jeans, something the students at Tokyo College of Music simply didn't do. The streets are starting to look familiar now. Ikebukuro station is just around the corner. Not far from here there's an optician where I got my very first pair of glasses. That was years ago. With just 2 hours, you can catch a glimpse of Tokyo that most tourists never see. That's what I wanted to share with you today. If this journey helped you discover another side of the city, then I'm truly happy. That's it all for today. I usually explore places in Japan that tourists often miss with stories from local history and culture. If that sounds fun, subscribe and join me next time. またね